Hello, Paul here from EMD Automotive in Canberra, Sydney. Today I'm doing a valve leak down test to see how much air I can hold, inside the actual combustion chamber when the valve and the actual piston is on top of the center and the valves are both closed. So I've done a compression check. If you can see, I've got 148 on number 4, 95 on number 3, 90 on number 2 and 90 on number 1. That paint, they can come off with water, so don't worry about that. I'll put some oil later on the actual little bit, I think 20 ml of oil inside there, and see if the compression increase. If it does increase, so we need the actually piston rings for this car. But for now, I'm just going to do the leak down test. So I'm going to start number 1, number 4, and then number 2 and number 3. Alright, let's start. Got my crank, I've got my piston top dead center, I've got my crank through here. I took the radiator out so I can lock it properly, so I can see what I'm doing as well. Much easier for me to do that, because this car has never been here before in the workshop, so I need to inspect everything properly. And that's the only time I can see it, is take the radiator out and inspect it properly. So then, straight through there. I've got my 2 batteries there to lock the actual spanner so it doesn't spin. And if you're wondering what socket it is, it's 36mm for that, to lock it in. Alright, let me do number 1 first. Okay, I've got 100, sort of nearly 100 psi of pressure going in, and it's holding about, a bit more, holding about 90. So holding 90 psi, that's pretty alright, it's pretty good to me. So that's number 1. There's number 4 right there. Number 4 is leaking. You can hear it. Number 4 is actually leaking pretty bad. What's number 4? About, say, 12. So I've got 12 on number 4, 90 on number 1. You can hear at the back as well. I can feel the actual air coming out of the exhaust here. So there's a bad leak from the actual valve, exhaust valve, and intake valve. You can hear it here as well. Alright, let's do number 2 and number 3. Okay, that's number 2 there. These are the same as number 4. Got 10. So you can see number 3 was 100, and I'm doing number 2 again, and it's still 10, above 10. So I've got 90, 10, 100 and 12. I'm going to do number 4 again, just in case. One more time. Okay, sorry about that. So I had to do number 4 again, and I still got it up to about 60. So number 4 now is at 60. I had to move everything, just keep moving it around to make sure. And it's still leaking. So that's the best I can get for number 4. It's about 62. Alright, I've got 62, 100, 10 and 90. Alright. Still 12, 10, around 10, 12. That's number 2. That's the best I can do for number 2 is 10. So usually I'll do this about, say, for each cylinders I'll do about, say, 4 times. Sometimes I really get paranoid, so I do it 6, 7 times, and I take the average. And the best I can do it for number 4 is 62. 3 is 100. So leak down test for the valve. 10, 12 for this one, and 90 for number 1. So this cylinder here is really bad, so the valve's leaking for the exhaust. You hear at the back. You can feel the air on the exhaust at the back as I showed before. So now I'm going to put a bit of oil inside the engine and then crank it over and see how much these guys come up by. So I put a little bit, probably 10 mil inside on these ones here to see how much they come up when I crank the engine for the compression. Alright, but the leak down is pretty bad. Valve leak down test is pretty bad on cylinder number 4 and cylinder number 2. Number 1 and number 3 is good. So I'm going to put a bit of oil here on these guys here, and then just 10 mil is enough. See how much the compression will come up by. Alright. Okay, I've got my gauge hooked up now, number 3. Okay, I've got 180 on this one here, on number 3. Okay, let me just do number 2. Still got 90 on this one. Actually below 90 on number 2. Okay, I've got number 1. So number 2, I still can't get it over 90. I think it was about 87, 86. So I can't do nothing about that one. So this is number 1. I'll do it again. Number 1, one more time. I'll have to open the actual throttle. At the same time, crank the engine. Okay, I managed to get this one up to 150, over 150. 60, 70, yeah, about 160. Alright, so number 1 now. That's why I always do these tests so many times. Sometimes the meter's not right, or something's not right here. So maybe it's not tight enough there. So I usually just do it again and repeat it until I try my best to get the best reading. So this one got about, say, 160. So minimum for number 1 was, the highest I can get is 160 psi. Number 2, I can't get it above 90. Number 3, it went higher than, I think, 130. And then number 4, it was already 148, but I'll do it again. Okay, I managed to get number 3 up to 170. So I had to change the O-ring on my actual meter so I can do it again just in case, but this one's about 170. Let me do number 4 and we'll know for sure. Alright, as you can see, this is number 4 and I barely can go past 40. About 40 psi on this one, alright? So I've got. Alright, that's why I have to do it again and again and again, just in case the seal of my meter is wrong, or because I've got a spare gauge. Usually I do a compression check with one gauge and then try it again with a different gauge, just in case something's wrong. But I think I got it wrong. So now, as you can see, that's number 4 compression. The leak down is pretty bad as well. Number 4 and number 2 is pretty bad. Regardless, this head's got to come off no matter what. Let me put some oil in here and then I can actually check for any increase in compression. Okay, I'll try it again with a different meter, different compression meter, still the same, around 70, 30, 40, 50, 60, probably 50, yeah, about 50 psi now. Not even going up, so I'm going to put some oil in there now and see what happens. As you can see, I've got a bit of oil in there. Right there, I put some oil in there, about 15 mil, 10, I think 10 mil, just a little drop, bit of oil, and look at the compression, increased to way past 150, 170, about 170, 160, 70. So, okay, as you can see, cylinder number 4, the compression was 40, and I put some oil in there, and it went up to 170. So this one here, number 4, is pretty much piston rings gone. The leak down tests are done. The highest compression I got on number 3 was 170. The highest in number 2 was 90. And the highest I got in number 1 was 160, and I think the other meter was wrong. It doesn't matter, that's the reading I got today anyway. So 160 number 1, 90 number 2, 170 number 3, and 40 in number 4. Put some oil in there, and I got 170. Come down to this side here is a leak down test. Leak down for number 4 for the valve was 62, 100 for actually number 3, and number 2 was 10, and number 1 was 90. So number 1 is good, number 3 is good, number 2 is bad, and number 4 is bad for the leak down. And when it comes to compression, number 4 is really, really bad, alright? And number 2 is low. So when you think about it, for this engine here, I need the head off to go from there, and probably needs new pistons or new rings. Full rebuild needs. All right. That's the only thing I can do at the moment. Done my test properly. All the tests I've done now was with the throttle open, so air can rush into the extra engine and fill it up, just like a normal driving condition. Okay, so there you are now. So the next step is talk to the customer, and then we'll go from there. All right. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Okay.